Hello and welcome to the FinTech Silicon Valley Crypto News. I'm your host, Shane Glynn. Today we're coming to you live from the Shepard Mullin office in beautiful downtown San Francisco. This week's topics are BTC at 18K, Coinbase and the IRS, the SEC's cyber unit, and kittens. The first story we have today is the remarkable rise in the price of Bitcoin, which between last night and this morning went from $14,000 to a touch over $18,000, getting as high as $19,000 on some of the Asian exchanges. It's really hard to say what caused this rise. Predicting cause and effect in the Bitcoin world is very difficult, but there were two interesting pieces of news that came out this week that could have affected the price. The first is that the Chicago Board of Exchange announced that they're launching a futures market in Bitcoin next week. This is a long-awaited move. It's the first sort of the first sort of large financial industry move that's going to permit a lot of big players to come into the cryptocurrency markets. And it also could be one factor that would lead to the SEC approving an ETF for Bitcoin, which is something the industry has been looking for over a year. The other big piece of news that came out was the Lightning Network's integration test was successful. Now, just for a bit of background, Lightning is a technology that allows small and medium-sized Bitcoin transactions to happen off-chain, so you don't have to deal with fees and you don't have to deal with delays. There are three different groups that have all implemented Lightning, and this week's test proved that the three implementations of Lightning would actually interoperate. So this is huge news. No one has to worry about which Lightning network are they running. They all should work together. Now, moving to the IRS, this last week, a judge ordered Coinbase to hand over to the IRS the account details of any Coinbase account that transacted more than $20,000 per year. This is a total of about 14,000 accounts, and since we're coming up to the end of the year, if you're one of those people, you should definitely consult your tax advisor. In other regulatory news, the SEC's special cyber unit, which was spun up, I think, about a year ago, and tasked with looking at things like the cryptocurrency industry and token sales, they filed their first charges against a Canadian company called Plexcoin. Now, this is not a big surprise. Plexcoin was already under investigation by Quebec's AMF, which is their regulatory body, and the main organizer of Plexcoin had been previously investigated by regulatory bodies. But it is notable because it is the first action by this new cyber unit. And finally, if you have been around Ethereum at all this week, the big news is CryptoKitties. It's a Tamagotchi-style game that got started last week. It became insanely popular almost instantly. The first kitten that was sold, which was called the Genesis kitten, sold for over $110,000. And as of Tuesday of this week, CryptoKitty transactions comprised 15% of all transactions on the Ethereum network, which is just amazing. This actually highlighted one of the problems with transaction volume on the Ethereum network, because the number of pending transactions, which is normally down around 1,000, went as high as 25,000 pending transactions, which is something that is relatively unprecedented, and it was all caused by this one distributed app. So again, this highlights the need for continued development of the Ethereum network and increased scaling in blockchains generally. Well, that's the update for this week. Thank you very much.